And we are live on the United Public Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM New Orleans, home of the Super Bowl. And it doesn't get any better than that. And we're also being live streamed everywhere podcasts live. My YouTube channel, Facebook Live, etc. We're not hard to find. To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Father Shawn's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Father Shawn Whittington. I'm an ordained Catholic priest with the United States Old Catholic Church. I'm a fully professed brother with the Old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary, team member with Society of St. Benedict, and co-founder with my wife of ghostbegone.biz. And yeah, I'm that guy on Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists on Travel Channel, which is currently streaming everywhere. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you that continue to discover the show out there in streaming world and reach out to me with such wonderful support for the project. God bless you and thank you for that. It means a lot to me. No word yet if we're going to a season 2. We're keeping our fingers crossed. But got a lot of other coals in the fire, so you might not have seen the last of me yet. All right, guys, what do I want to tell you? If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. And if you go there to visit, a lot of cool things to see. Both my books are there, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, and God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2. And you can purchase them a little less expensive on Amazon, and they also come available in an audio version. But if you buy them off the website, they leave my office here. I autograph them, and they arrive to you enclosed in a beautiful house blessing kit. You never know when you're going to need one of those. So another wonderful thing about buying the books off of the website is part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books goes to support stjude.org and the ASPCA. So how wonderful is that? You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. That's a beautiful thing. What else is there? My online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. It's a 12-week online college level course. And this is the kind of course for all you true warriors for Christ out there that want to learn how to draw your line in the sand, circle the wagons, put up a good fight, perhaps the fight of your life, against true evil. God forbid if that ever comes calling. That's the course for you. If you're interested in enrolling in the course, you can just do it there at the website. If you want more information about the course before making that type of commitment, you can always reach out to me. I'm not hard to find, and we'll talk and discuss and see if the course is right for you. You won't find a course like it anywhere else out there, or an instructor anywhere like the one that instructs that course out there floating around. Um, what else do I want to tell you guys? There's a place on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me about your spiritual issues, not paranormal, but spiritual issues. And on that note, remember that my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So I know times are tough, brothers and sisters, but if you're there visiting the website and you notice the donate button and you're able to click on it and send my ministry in a small donation, I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we'll put it to good use. Today's a very special show. It's quickly becoming a fan favorite, and it's the first Friday of every month, and it is First Fridays with Father Shawn and Annette. And today the guest is you all that have tuned in live. Annette and I are going to take questions exclusively from the chat room. It's your opportunity to put Annette's feet to the fire and rake old Father Shawn over the coals on any topic. No topic is off the table. And if we don't get a lot of questions, then Annette and I will just get our paranormal chat on, if you will. So, on that note, without further ado, she's a friend of mine. I've known her forever. I love her. I respect her. She's super cool. A lifelong paranormal experiencer. She's the owner of Stellium Books. She's my publisher. Please give a big, warm Paranormal Ministry family welcome to the one and only Annette Munich.
Hi, Father Shawn. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I love these shows where we just chat and it goes wherever it goes, and it's really nice. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And we got Michelle Wilfong in the chat saying hello.
Hi,
So,
Michelle.
hello, Michelle. And yeah, I'm ready. Feet to the fire. Well, that sounds a little intense. I, but
Uh,
okay. All right. Let's see what happens.
Two things I wanted to go over with you real quick. I'm going to put your feet to the fire. How's that?
Okay.
Two things I wanted. First of all, I want to tell everybody I forgot to do this last week because you weren't here. But on that note, I still am giving away blessed frankincense incense. So if you've tuned in live, just type in the word incense in the chat. And later on tonight, Annette will do a little drawing, pull a winner, and then we will put the message out there who the winner was, and we'll try to get the mailing address on that person. And I will send them a box, their very own box of blessed frankincense incense. So I still got a bunch of that to give out.
And
And I just wanted you to know that last week I got a lot of messages from people wanting to know what happened to Annette. Where's Annette? Is she coming back? What's going
yeah.
on? So I didn't tell anybody what was going on with you. If you wanted to touch base on that, fine. If not, that's cool. But I just wanted you to know that people were concerned and they missed you. And
Uh,
two, I have a big favor to ask of you, and I wanted to wait and ask you this live because I figured live
no pressure
you'd be
there, none
yeah nope
whatsoever.
you'd be under the gun to say yes. So are you ready for my big favor?
Sure.
Um, and I've known I was going to ask you this all week long, but I wanted to wait for the show to add a little drama to it. Um, we have another big once a month show coming up at the end of the month, and it's going to be the last Friday of every month, and it begins last Friday of this month, the 28th, and it's a little thing that we're going to call Happy Medium Monthly. And I used to do this show for many years with our special guest that night, and I used to call it Happy Medium Monday because it was on the first Monday of every month. But now I'm going to flip it around. It's going to be the last Monday of every month. It's going to be a show for the happy medium herself, Susan Ahern, live from Cape Cod. And she's just going to come on. I'm basically just showing up to introduce her and get out of her way because I want it to be her show or her episode, if you will, where she's just going to give free, live, on air psychic readings to whoever wants one. But you got to tune in live and you got to type your question in the chat room. Susan will see the question and she'll address it. All you got to do is put your name in, type your question in, and you'll get your free live on air psychic reading. We're not going to conjure spirit. That takes a lot more time and a lot more energy, but ask questions about love, money, travel, employment, whatever, but I want the show to be a big success for Susan. And it dawned on me that I originally planned on having you take the night off on those shows. But I also happened to catch your comment that you sent me a private message that your feelings were hurt that I was going to have you sit out, and then my feelings were hurt that I hurt your feelings because you know I love you. So something dawned on me. I suck, and I always have sucked at monitoring the chat rooms. And there's no need for me to have to make Susan do it while she's trying to relax and channel and give people their readings. I would like to know if you would honor me with your presence and be here on that night too to help
I
monitor the chat room and help me with that show.
I will show up and I'll be here and I'll keep a little to the side and let her do her thing but I can pop the questions up and if there's a little comment, but I'm going to just stay a little secondary and just let her do, what she does. And also, maybe for our listeners out in New Orleans, if people want to send questions, because we do take questions, um, we have a prayer urn and things that got sent to Father Shawn. They can be part of the show. I'm trying to think of a way to include our people that might be driving around, and that they could ask a question even if they can't listen live. They can listen to the show later, because these shows are up forever. They're archived. You go to Father Shawn's Paranormal Ministry on YouTube and hit the live tab, and all of the recent shows will show up for you. And, same thing if you want to do that later and put your name in on today's show and put incense, you can also enter the drawing. But make sure to check back tomorrow, because if you won, we can't send it to you until we have your address.
Excellent idea. I'll go ahead and make everybody a promise now. I usually check the YouTube channel on a Saturday, the following day, about approximately 24 hours after the show has aired live. I go back to the YouTube channel, I check, and I usually share that archive back to Facebook, to my X account, my LinkedIn account, my Rumble account, a couple of other places. I share the broadcast to those spots. And what I'll do is I'll double check the chat room again at that time, and if I see that there were any questions put in late that I didn't get to, I will personally try to reach out to those people and answer their question for them. And I'm big on that. That's all I do. Pretty much all week long is answer prayers, answer questions, talk with people. So I don't have a problem doing that. I don't foresee us being able to take if I was actually in Joe's studio live, and we had a call in number for the people that tune in live to 107.7. And he's got another station too there on the Gulf Coast, which
Right,
live broadcasts the show. Those people could call in, but we're not set up for that right now, which is a bummer.
right,
But I will check the questions afterwards, and if
right.
anybody.
And Father Shawn has a website, ghostbegone.biz, and that's another way to contact him, because we don't expect anybody to put their address out in public. We'll just make arrangements if we see you that you won. We'll make arrangements with you where we have your contact information privately.
Absolutely. Well, you look very pretty today.
Thank
I
you.
don't know if you're into football, or if so, are you excited about the Super Bowl?
I am excited about Super Bowl, and I'm excited about Tuesday because it's my birthday.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, I would have found out anyway, but I'm glad to know now. It gives me a little time to to decide what I want to send you.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday in advance. And are you going to do anything special?
I don't really know yet. I haven't asked for anything, so we'll see. But I do enjoy the Super Bowl, and that's going to be fun on Sunday, and we'll see how the week plays out.
I do see a question here from Angela LeMay. Hi, Angela. My mom passed away. I'm so sorry to hear that. May she rest in peace. Any messages for me? Well, Angela, that you are one of the people that needs to tune in on the last
Right,
Friday of the month when Susan is here, because she's going to be giving free live on air psychic readings the whole show. Basically, the episode is her episode, and Annette and I are just going to be there just to help out where we can and chat with her a little bit, because sometimes, there's a little break between people that ask questions in the chat and then we have a chance to chat with Susan a little bit. But Angela, I would love for you to tune back in on the
Yes,
28th,
for sure.
Friday the 28th here at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. She'll be here live from Cape Cod. She's Cape Cod's only live on air psychic radio personality. I'll tell you something about Susan. And many of you already know this, but she's a very fascinating person. I've known her for a long time. The way we met is very interesting. But Susan, uh, I've been in the paranormal investigative field since I was like 10 years old. I'm 65 now. That's a long time. And in all those years, the the legit, truly gifted psychic mediums that I know with a gift from God, for real, that I know I can count on two hands. Susan's one of those. And something a lot of other people don't know about Susan, she's like a 7-time near death experience survivor. And I think we should find a different term for that because near death sounds like you were near death and survived it. But Susan actually died, crossed over, saw heaven, saw loved ones that had gone on before her, heard the voice of God, saw angels, spoke with angels. They always sent her back. But 7 times, I mean, if memory serves me correctly, she was struck by lightning twice. She survived 2 deadly car wrecks. She bled out during childbirth with her oldest child. Um, what else? She was hung when she was a young girl, an accidental hanging. And I think the latest one was she was actually on a paranormal investigation and had the roof of this location fall in on her.
Wow.
So, she's sent back for a reason, and that's to do what she does. So, I know her show was a big hit when I had her on once a month before coming to UPRN. I'm sure it'll be as big a hit again. But I encourage you, Angela, to tune in Friday, April 28th for that show. Happy Medium Monthly. And Susan will definitely answer any question you have for her. But having said that, now I'm not going to, and I know Annette has her, she's gifted too in many ways. I never like to say that I'm a psychic medium, but I'll just throw it out there that if there's any messages for you in terms of anything having to do with your mother and make she rest in peace, I'll give you the message. So we'll see. But Urso says, have you seen or sensed her around? I'm not absolutely positive what Urso is asking me.
Urso's talking to Angela because Angela made
Oh,
the
gotcha. Yeah,
message about her mom. So,
that's a
he's,
good question, Angela. You're more than welcome, Angela, to answer Urso's
yeah.
question here if you
And
want. You
I'm
want to go?
sorry if Urso could be a woman. I don't know. I just automatically went he, and that might be incorrect.
No, Angela says no. I haven't felt her. So, Angela, both my parents have passed on. May they rest in peace. The last year of my father's life and last 2 years of my mother's life, me and my brother, younger brother, shared being their home hospice caregivers, which is a very tough thing. For all those out there living that life and doing that, God bless you. That's a hard job. And when finally the job is over, it usually means they've gone on to heaven, and that's also hard. Um, and I'll tell you, I I only because I watch for that stuff. I get messages from my mother all the time. But if I aren't watching for it or looking for them, I could easily not catch them. So you just got to take a deep breath, relax, try to tap into that energy and be aware of things that may happen that might remind you of your mother. And they may be subtle messages. My father, not so subtle. Those messages usually come to me. I'll give you an example. Um, I would get this dream where it sounded like somebody would shoot a gun off in my right ear. And I'm telling you, it was so loud that it would wake me up and launch me out of bed. And I'd be in like a shaking. It was just so loud and so real. I really thought somebody shot a gun off either in my home or right outside my door, or a cannon went off, or fireworks, something. But my wife would be sound asleep. My dogs would be sound asleep. And there's a lot of paranormal activity that goes on in the home here, but not like that. And it took me a while, and I finally realized what that was. That's my father's way of announcing that he is around, checking in on me, because that was the 21 gun salute that he received at his funeral for
Oh,
being retired military. So I finally, eventually, I realized what that was all about. And that was just basically him letting me know he's still around. And then I try and tap into that energy and see if he's got any other messages. And again, usually it comes in the form of a dream, where I'll see him in a dream, and we'll talk about something. So um, it may already be happening and you're just not aware of it. So just try and be more aware of that, and you never know what might happen.
I've had what I believe to be actual encounters with um, my deceased relatives in dreams. And then also, I've had some things that happened around me that I believed was them as well. But the first experience I had with the spirit world was my grandfather, and he died before I was born. And that was really, really strange. I was 16, and I woke up suddenly and I saw a silhouette of a man in my room, and he was walking towards me, and I had this very creaky wooden floor, and it wasn't making any sound. And I could hear his thoughts. He wasn't speaking, but I could hear him in my head, a man's voice. And he basically was saying, "Don't worry, everything's going to be okay," because my mom and dad were divorcing. And that's how all of my paranormal world began, with that one experience. And I used to kind of wish he would come back. I never saw him again. And then I had these recurring dreams with my Italian grandmother, and they were concerning my uncle. And I was starting to get to where I was seeing them maybe a couple of times a month. And we hadn't heard from our uncle for quite a while, but my brother was at the hospital getting some tests done. And my brother saw him there, and he was being discharged. And he called me and he said, "He looks terrible. He's super, super thin. Something's really bad wrong with him." This is crazy. I told this story when I was a guest on your show a million years ago. Because then I went with my sister in law to his house, and he wouldn't answer the door, but we knew he was in there. So we took a ladder and climbed in through the window. And anyway, I said, "Come on, come to my house and stay with me and the kids for a while." And um, it was real hot in his house. We had air conditioning, and I thought I'd help him put some weight back on and find out what was wrong with him. And so I took him to my house for quite a while, but he died of cancer that October. It turned out he had cancer. But the point of it is, I think my grandmother was like, the things she was showing me in the dream was because she was showing me him and different things about him, that when my brother said he saw him, I knew that she was asking me to try and step in and help him because he lived by himself. So he stayed at my house for about a month, 6 weeks, and I made him all of Grandma's recipes, and he liked that. And took him to the carnival, and he got to visit with the kids and stuff. So that was good. But um, other things that are a little bit less overt than that, but my grandmother was very insistent upon this. Like I had these same kind of dream, but different forms of it over and over and over again. And then my brother says, I just saw him. He looks bad. And I think that she was asking me to try and help because he was really sick.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember that story. Um,
Because he
it's
was
funny you.
mad at me for climbing in through the window. He was real mad. And
Uh,
it's not a real good security system. There's like dining room windows in the backyard with a ladder right there that I only had to move like 6 feet, and I was right in the house. But okay.
Speaking of cancer, what a horrible disease it is. I think I include that in my prayer to the faithful every day when I say mass, that there's an end to that. But we were at one of Sharon's cancers. She sees like five different specialists. That in this point in time, it's all just checkups, make sure she's still doing okay. But we were at one of her specialists last Tuesday, and you got a comment on your bracelet. He's a very religious person. I'm always
Oh,
hug. I'm a hugger. I'm always hugging him and thanking him for helping save
no.
Sharon's life. And uh, I throw a lot of God bless yous around the office and stuff. And he happened to notice your bracelet. And so, how's the bracelet thing going? Are you still doing that?
I have not too many left in stock, but I'm going to make some more. I still have all the beads and supplies, so but I pretty much moved all of the ones that I had. Some I gave for gifts, some we did for show giveaways, and some people were interested in having.
Did you happen to hear back from the woman that won the bracelet you made for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, we I sent that one out.
I was just curious if she
Her
had
name was
reached out
Linda.
to you and said, "Love, got the bracelet, love
I
it. I have
didn't go.
it."
No, I didn't get a return message, but yeah. So,
Very, very cool.
last week, what happened last week was we had an emergency situation with my brother, and they had to take him and by ambulance, and he went home from the hospital yesterday. So we're very glad about that, and it was pretty scary. Um, I don't want to say what his medical condition is. He probably wouldn't mind, but I'm not going to cross the line. But it was a scary, scary thing. So, but a lot of prayers went to him, and he got better after a few days, a lot of testing, and he started to sound like his old self, which made me really happy.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I offered up several prayers for him. I'm glad that worked out for you.
I
And
appreciate it. My whole family appreciates it.
anything else on your mind? And what's going on with Stellium? I know. I've already had people reach out to me. When's the third book coming out? This is what's happening. I shouldn't have said anything, but I'm right now. I'm just concentrating on getting ready for my retreat in
Oh,
April. And so I'm just concentrating on that. But when I get back from the retreat, I start to plan on working pretty hot and heavy on the book. And um, I'll reach out to you later and ask you what's a good time of year you think to release a book. And that will depend on how hard I work on it and how quick I want it out. but I'm going to take my time with this because this may be my last one. It's going to finish up the series, and it may be my last one. So I want to, I want to go out with a bang, and it really be one that I really take time on and make sure it's right. Having said that, I also get a lot of people wanting to know about the retreat. Anybody's welcome to go to our retreat. It's Thursday through Sunday, April 24th through the 27th. That's the week right after Easter. It's at a place in Illinois called Todd Hall Retreat Center. Todd Hall, capital T O D D H A L L, one word, Retreat Center. Anyone's welcome to come. You just if you're interested in going to our retreat, you just have to contact Todd Hall, tell him the dates you want to arrive and why you want to be there, and make some arrangements on how you're going to get there and your room. And um, it's a lot of fun. The retreats, you're out in the middle of the woods, but it's beautiful out there. It's a religious retreat, so God's out there. You're going to find God and talk to God.
No more playing with Bigfoot. Is it the same place as last year?
Yeah, Bigfoot's out there.
No more
He's
teasing Bigfoot. No more jokes about Bigfoot. Don't even think Bigfoot. For sure, don't say Bigfoot.
Bigfoot's big on God. I know that because why else would he show up in front of my cabin at my retreat? But and I don't know if it's Bigfoot, but I mean there were trees that you couldn't get your arms around,
Right.
and all of them were standing one day, and then the next day, one right in front of my cabin. I went out there and I was talking to the woods. I do that, talking to God, talking to the woods and whoever will listen, Mother Nature and the elementals and the Holy Family and whatever. And I, did happen to make a comment about Bigfoot. The following morning, I come out to go to breakfast, and one tree has been lifted out of the ground, turned upside down, and planted back in the ground upside down. And I just thanked them for letting me know that they were there and went on about my business. But the retreat's fun. We have classes. We have confession, mass, and communion every day, and then we have a movie night and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We all get together for every day, and it's just really a fun time. So, if you're interested in joining us on the United States Old Catholic Church, going to be a lot going on. I'm being elevated and ordained to the abbot position for the church. I know our current abbot and Reverend Mother are both being elevated and ordained to bishops. We have a couple of Benedictine brothers who have taken their temporary vows. They will both take their permanent vows and become fully professed brothers there at the retreat. And I'm sure our Bishop Long has other things planned, but it's really a fun time. So, like I said, if you're interested in going, anybody out there listening, anybody's welcome. You just got to contact Todd Hall and make your own arrangements to get there and in your room and all that sort of stuff. So that's it. I'm concentrating right now on that because I'm gonna have to say one of the masses there for sure, at least one. And I know I'm also gonna have to do once I'm abbot. I have to probably the one that does the ceremony and welcomes um, the brothers into the Benedictine our Benedictine community, and that's a wonderful ceremony too. So I'm just concentrating on getting ready for that and doing that, and then when I get back, I'll be working on the book.
Whatever works out with the book for you is, the way it's going to work out. It's always nice to put out a paranormal book at the beginning of October, but other than that, whenever it's done is when it's done.
Well, this I'm going to do something different with this book, and everybody says, maybe you shouldn't talk about what you're going to do. I'm an open book. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I got nothing to hide. Um, about the show, the four stories that were in the show, and this is no big secret either. Of course, there's a lot cut out of these because we only had, it's an hour long episode. There's two stories per episode. After you kick the commercials out of there, you got about 20 minutes to tell the story, to tell one story. So they had to take a lot out. And most of these stories, whether it appeared that they had closure or not, uh, all of them still had a continuation from that. So what
Interesting.
I plan to do is, and I've never written about these stories before they appeared on the TV show. The book's going to have those stories in their entirety with all the real names and all the stuff that happened that didn't make the TV screen. And I'm going to go on and give these stories closure. There's a couple of stories that the network said we can't put that on TV. That's too intense. A
Wow.
couple of those, so I'm going to include those in the book. And then uh, I've just been inundated with people that just want to know either they are still searching for God or they have found God and like the story, or they feel they're being called to ministry work. People want to know how, they hear me often talk about how my ministry work began before I was even born and how, all the divine intervention that I've experienced in my life, which led to me entering the seminary at the age of 60, and how that went, and how right up to becoming an abbot. So I'm going to finish the book with that story because I want to go out with a happy ending. I don't want to enough scaring people, and there's going to be some of that in there. Trust me, you'll probably when you're. I'll give you a heads up because I'm old school. I literally sit down and put pen to paper and write my book, and then I give it to Sharon. She reads it, does her own version of editing and spell check because she's majored in English in college. Then she types it in the computer and then sends that to you.
Okay.
So it gets a double editing. And I'll give you a heads up ahead of time if is experiencing any paranormal activity editing the book, which will give you a heads up that you will probably be going through the same thing. But aren't you in a different location now for this next book?
Well, I'm in Oklahoma. I did your first two books when I was in Illinois, but
So
it doesn't
yeah,
matter where I am. It
hopefully
seems
it's not
like,
so. Hopefully you don't experience as much paranormal activity editing the
well,
book as you did the first two.
I had quite a bit with the last one and very strange things too, and that was here. And I'm with my son and daughter-in-law, and I'm sorry, my son-in-law and my daughter, and I did ask them if they minded before I started and told them that things might happen. And we had some really strange things. And I really, for, the sake of the audience, I think that a lot of times there's like things out there that don't really want these stories to come out. And the more spiritual warfare it is, the more they don't want it to come out because a lot of those books have prayers and methodologies for dealing with those sorts of occurrences, and they don't want that to come out because as soon as I take the books and get all the prep work done and I submit them, the anything paranormal will stop the world and it's too late. So they just try to slow me down. And even to the point of they can mess with the manuscripts themselves. I've had them scramble page numbers, and that shouldn't be able to happen. I'm using Microsoft Word. I don't put the page number on each page. I hit a button that adds page numbers for me. Turn the pictures in the book upside down, stuff like that. But we did have some things happen here. Nothing that felt like anything was trying to actually hurt anybody, but made itself known, yes. The strangest that I'll say is we've got some big we're on a mini farm, great big water tanks, and We've got four big dogs. The boys are really big. They're both Great Pyrenees. They're like 170 pounds each. So, to think that somebody's coming onto the property just to open the spigot and dump out all the water is kind of preposterous. We would know if,
Yeah,
people came on the grounds, and the one water tank in the greenhouse, there was no water on the ground. It was just empty. I don't know what the significance was for doing that. But then I took twine and got blessed metals, and we tied blessed metals to the water tanks, and it stopped happening. But it had happened twice.
very interesting. I will warn you about one thing which I've thought about quite often, and I debated if I even wanted to plant the seed and throw it out there in the cosmos by bringing it up to you, but I'm going to do it anyway. I know that living in Oklahoma, and that's where my father was born and raised. I got a lot of relatives and ancestry through that whole. This is like I know my father's family. They were there before even that big Sooner rush, which occurred. They depict that at the end of that movie. What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Kidman, Nicole Kidman, where they were from Ireland and they were in that
Oh,
big
yeah, 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 yeah.
land
That's
rush at the end to get
right.
put your stake in the ground.
Sure.
That's the Sooner land rush in Oklahoma. That was a real thing that happened. Their family was out there long before that when Oklahoma wasn't Oklahoma. It was called Indian Territory at the time, and he was actually raised on an Indian reservation. Wyandotte Veneta area was an Indian reservation back in the day. Um, so you're on probably on Indian land. So I was
Well,
a little concerned about a couple of the stories in the book that that might
might
encourage a
up
little activity
something.
where
Yeah.
you're staying.
Well, my daughter one night, she was taking pictures of the full moon, and we got a lot of orb pictures, and the orbs were big, and every picture it was moving, and it wasn't dust or bugs. It was as big as medium sized bird, I would say, by the creek, because there's a creek on the property. And then I found out there's an Indian burial mound behind the neighbor's house, kind of in sort of a scrubby, rough, undeveloped part of, property. And I was going to ask him to go back there, and then I thought I'll just leave that alone. So, um,
Yeah.
just leave it alone. But yeah, so that's a little bit of that it's always kind of cool when it had nothing to do with me. It was like that when I got here, so I can't be, you know, associated with that. It's not my fault.
Well, on that note, most everybody that knows me knows that Sharon and I live in a haunted home. But uh, at one time for about 8 weeks, we endured and lived through a very violent haunting. And we have a young filmmaker, documentary filmmaker here in town that somehow got turned on to my personal story and what we've gone through in the home here. And he wanted to come over and do some filming in the home. So um, Sharon and I sat down and talked about it, and we realized that since this happened, and it's been years, we have had nobody over at the house but two times. Both times it was necessary. One time we had a plumber, and the other time, well, two times actually I lied. Two times we had a plumber come over, and then one time we had a landscaper come by, and I just let him in the front door, through the house, out the back door to do some work in the yard. And what we did at that time was um, the most recent plumber, he was in the bathroom. All he had to do was unplug the drain in the tub, which all of a sudden stopped flowing, and do some minor work on Sharon's toilet. And after he was done, he never told us what happened, but he gave us an estimate on some other work, and he didn't come back. And when we called his office, he told them that he didn't want to come back here. And he didn't tell them why, but he told them he didn't want to come back here. So that's still up in the air. But the plumber before him, he was here most of the day, and I had made him lunch. And he was at my bar in our kitchen eating, and he noticed I had my magnets on the car that said "Ghost Be Gone," Buster's for real, Reverend Shawn Whittington, and our phone number. So we got to talking about the paranormal, and he starts talking about how he doesn't believe in ghosts and demons and all that's fake and the shows are stupid and yada yada
He
yada.
said that in your house?
While he's
Oh,
talking to me, he
oh,
all of a sudden stops eating and just starts staring at me, and he puts his sandwich down, and he looks like he's actually going to get ill. He's pale. I look down at his arms, the hairs are up. His skin looked like chicken skin, all goosebumpily, and he's just looking at me. And after a couple of minutes, he goes, "You know what? I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air." I said, "Sure, no problem." He gets up, he walks over to my front door. Now, he'd been in and out of that door several times, going to his truck, getting tools and stuff, and back and forth. He goes and he opens the door, and it won't open. He checks the deadbolt, checks the doorknob. The door's open, but it won't open. He starts to panic and really start yanking on the door. He wants to get out. Finally, I couldn't think of what else to do other than to say out loud, I said, "He's a friend. Leave him alone. Let him out." As soon as I said that, the door opened right up.
oh,
And
wow.
he just looks at me and he goes out. I hear him get in his truck, starts his truck up, and he drives away.
Right.
And he left all his tools here, or
Ooh,
the tools that he brought in. I don't know if they were all his tools. When we've finally got a hold of him and asked him to come back for his tools, he told us keep them. He said, "You can
people.
have them. I'll get new tools." Then the last guy that I had come out here, I took the magnets off the car. I didn't want him to see the magnets. And he came through our house and he goes to the backyard. And most people know in my backyard I don't go back there anymore because our pool is drained. Ever since the day we moved in here, we always had issues with our pool. So we finally decided to drain it. I don't use it. But I'm back there doing something, and something I couldn't see picked me up and tossed me in the deep end of our pool, and it was
Ooh,
drained. So that was a big fall, and that hurt, and it was scary.
right.
And there was only like shin deep water in the deep end, but I mean you can drown in an inch of water. And if I had smacked my head and got knocked out and slipped into the deep end face first, I probably would have drowned. But that was scary, so I don't go out there anymore unless I absolutely have to. But we were having some issues with our water line in the back. So I had to take the guy out in the back, and he's crunched down like a catcher in baseball doing this work on the piping, and I'm standing behind him. And he thought it was a little weird. He goes, "You don't have to hang out here with me the whole time I do work." I'm all, "Nah, I like to watch." So I'm watching. All of a sudden, he stops working and he raises his head up and he looks into the bushes. And all of a sudden, he stands up really slowly, and then he takes a quick step back and his head does this. And he whips around to me. He goes, "Did you see that and hear that?" I go, "What do you know? What are you talking about?" "Somebody was just in that bush talking to me, and then they
Ooh,
got up and they walked away through the bush. You didn't see that?" Well, I lied to him. I did. I heard it and saw it all, but I didn't want him. I needed the work finished, so I didn't say anything. He finishes the work. We go out and leave, and he's gone now. Um, I put the magnets back on the car. He forgot something and he had to come back. He's only like 2 blocks down the street. And I put the magnets back on the car. He comes back up. He's walking up to my front door and he sees the magnets. He goes, you did see and hear that, and you were in the paranormal field, and you didn't tell me, and you live in a haunted house." I'm sorry, man. I needed the work to get done, but I figured as long as I was out there, you were okay. He said somebody was in the bush talking to him, and all of a sudden just walked away through the bushes. And I did hear the voice. I did hear something walk through the bushes, but like I said, I wanted to play it down. Well, there was more work for that guy to do, and he was going to be paid quite well to finish rerouting our water main past an area of piping that we were having issues with. He didn't want to come back. He said, "I'll recommend somebody to you, but I'm not coming back." So I've warned
So,
these guys, when you come here with your film crew, I'm going to bless everybody out in the
what
driveway.
kind of ghosts do you have in your bushes in your backyard? Is it the same or
I don't know. I don't know, but I don't go back there unless I have
male
to.
or female or
I don't have a clue. I suspect there's also some elemental activity going on back there. That's why we keep having issues with our piping and our water main back there. But I told the guys I'm going to bless the whole crew out in the driveway before I even let you come in. And Sharon doesn't want to be here. She's not scared, but she says, "You know what? Just we've never had anybody here do that kind of thing. Interview you, do some filming. So, just in case something gets stirred, maybe it's best if I go and visit my daughter for the night. Maybe go out to dinner with her, go catch a movie, hang out at her house for a little while till they're done." And I thought that would be a good idea too. So I've warned these guys. We'll see if they end up actually coming
it's
or decide to
interesting.
meet me somewhere else to to talk. So, but that's what. Do you want to finish the day off just chatting, or do you want to check the prayer urn?
I
Or
think we're almost out of time.
we are. You know what? I am going to check the prayer urn. I'll tell you why. Because something's telling me that I should, and there might be a reason for it. And this is the prayer urn. Everybody always asks about that. I found this prayer urn being auctioned off at a silent auction at a paranormal convention out in the middle of nowhere many, many years ago. I made sure there was no ashes in it, and they didn't have history on it, but it's beautiful. I did do
Well,
a binding ritual on it when it got here, and I decided to put prayers in it
you know,
because
when you first started saying about how you found the prayer urn, I had, like a chill and goosebumps go up the back of my neck.
Sydney R from New Mexico. Hi, Sydney.
Hi, Sydney.
I just moved into an old house on land near an Indian reservation.
Hey,
There you go. Well, when in Rome, can you please offer up a strong house blessing? I'll crank the volume. P.S. Some smudging tips too, please. Um, Sydney, reach out to me. You don't have to purchase a book, but reach out to me with your address. I'll send you a house blessing kit, and whatever you want to donate to the cause, great. I'll send you a house blessing kit. We don't have time for me to go through everything that's in the kit, but let me offer up a nice prayer. Crank your volume. Anybody that's listening that might want to need a prayer. Taking command and authority over your home is important. So let's try a prayer of command. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. In his name and by the power of his cross and blood, I ask Jesus to bind any evil spirits, forces, and powers of the earth, air, fire, or water, or the netherworld, and the satanic forces of nature. By the power of the Holy Spirit and by his authority, I ask Jesus Christ to break any curses, hexes, or spells and send them back to where they came from, if it be his holy will. I beseech thee, Lord Jesus, to protect us by pouring thy precious blood on us, my family, and everyone within the sound of my voice, which thou hast shed for us. And I ask thee to command that any departing spirits leave quietly, without disturbance, and go straight to thy cross to dispose of as thou seest fit. I ask thee to bind any demonic interaction, interplay, or communications. I ask under the protection of the blood of Jesus Christ, which he shed for us. Amen. Okay. And if anybody wants a copy of those prayers, any prayers that I say online here, you can reach out to me and I'll send you a copy of that. Um, Guys, don't go anywhere after the show's over with. We're just getting started here on Fridays of High Strangeness on UPRN. Coming up next will be Spirit Switchboard with Carrie Lynn Shellhorn. That's a great show. And yes, we have rescheduled Carrie Lynn, and she will be here April 18th, Good Friday. It's a great day for Carrie Lynn to be here. She was sick the last time she was supposed to be on, and just last night I rescheduled her. So, anything else you would like to say to anybody, my wonderful co host, before I kick you out of here?
I don't think so. It was a great show, and thanks for joining us. And we always enjoy all the people that are in our chat room, and wishing everybody a wonderful night and a great weekend, and you as well.
Enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope if you have a horse in the race and the team you're rooting for wins. I don't have a horse in the race. I'm a lifelong, diehard Washington Redskins fan. And yes, I said Redskins. They'll always be Redskins to me. But Commanders had a great season. God bless them. So I have a little, and I hate to use the word hate, but I have a little, I don't like the Eagles. They're in the same division. And so I've
I'm a
had to,
Bears fan. You mean
but
the Bears aren't in the Super Bowl this year?
no,
No, they're
it's the
not. They didn't make it again. Oh, okay.
the Chiefs are battling the Eagles. It'll be a great game. Chiefs have an
I know it
opportunity
was
to
Chiefs.
three-peat, which would be history in the making. So we'll see what happens. But I love you and respect you. I'm glad you're back. I missed you last week. I'm
Thank
looking
you so
forward to
much.
you and I getting together um, for Susan's show. But we'll be here next Friday, Valentine's Day, the 14th. You're going to love these two gals. Cheryl Knight Wilson, the owner of Paranormal Underground magazine, and she's bringing her paranormal partner in crime, Karen Frazier, with her. They co host a wonderful podcast called Mindful Mystics. So the
Very
two of them
good.
will be here next Friday.
Excellent.
Have a great weekend, a great remainder to your Friday night. Enjoy the game. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night, Annette. Annette Munich, Stellium Books. All right, guys. Uh, I mean this from the heart. Thank you all, and God bless you all for tuning in, because I don't have a show without all you guys, and I mean that. So, having said that, we'll see you next Friday, and put it on your calendar if you've ever wanted a free live on-air psychic reading from the one and only Happy Medium herself, live from Cape Cod. Susan Ahern will be here the last Friday of the month, the 28th. Okay, remember, we may have done what the devil said we did, but we are not who the devil says we are. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Peace.